Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we're going to dive into an emotional journey of love, resilience, and survival. It's the story of Huyen, Yen, and little Maya. How their home was torn apart by a fierce storm, and yet, through tears, promises, and unshakable faith, they stood side by side to rebuild it all. From the ruins of destruction to the warmth of a true home, this journey will show us that while storms may destroy walls, they can never break love. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next videos filled with touching moments like these. The storm had finally passed, but what it left behind was devastation. The house was no longer standing strong. It had been torn apart, scattered like leaves in the wind. And yet, in that very moment, Day made a decision. Even in the rain, even in the wreckage, he would rebuild. He would not wait for calm skies. He would begin again, to give his family a shelter before the next storm came crashing in. Our home, mine, Huyen's, and little Mia's, collapsed under the sheer force of nature's rage. But today, instead of falling into despair, we're holding hands, rising up, and choosing to rebuild from the ground. Friends, let me take you on this journey. A journey where hardship transforms into strength, and love burns brightly, pushing us forward, one step at a time. When the storm struck, our small bamboo house stood no chance. The howling winds tore through the roof, the walls splintered, and the courtyard we once cherished turned into a swirling pool of muddy water. Every crack, every broken piece felt like an open wound etched into our hearts. Huyen stood frozen, tears tracing lines down her cheeks. Months of hard work, every drop of sweat, every late night spent building this fragile dream. It all vanished in a single night. Her voice trembled as she looked at me and whispered, "We have to start over, from the very beginning." Little Maya, barely tall enough to wrap her arms around her mother, ran to hug her tight. Her small, fragile hands trembled, yet her whispers carried warmth. "It's okay, Mom. We'll be okay." And there, among the wreckage, something inside me sparked. Amid the shattered bamboo and mud, I felt my heart harden. Not in despair, but in resolve. I took Huyen's hand, still shaking, and I said firmly, "Don't cry. I'm here. We'll start over. Together, we'll build it all again." Was our love strong enough to withstand what was ahead? Could faith and promises really be enough to light the way through the darkest nights? The storm might have been only the beginning. But at that moment, all I knew was that I had to keep my word. To Huyen, to Maya, to myself. The flood waters still whispered through the broken bamboo poles. The wind carried its haunting cry long after the storm had passed. Yet in that eerie silence, we stood hand in hand. I picked up a broken bamboo pole buried deep in the mud. With each lift, the earth splattered against my clothes, but my eyes burned with a fire that would not go out. Maya, hair wet and tangled, followed behind me. Her tiny arms struggled to hold a piece of bamboo, her voice shaking but full of courage. "I'll help you rebuild our house, Uncle Ye." Huyen pulled her daughter close, tears streaming again. But this time, they weren't just tears of despair. They were tears of strength, of hope reignited by the pure light in her child's eyes. Through the long night, we worked. Each broken beam was lifted, each post set firmly into the ground. My hands bled as I hammered down stakes, the rhythm of each strike echoing like a drumbeat of determination. With every swing, I wasn't just building a house, I was rebuilding faith. When dawn finally broke, the small frame of a new bamboo house stood against the pale sky. It wasn't complete, not even close, but it was standing. And in its rough shape, in its fragile outline, it was already a symbol of resilience. I turned to Huyen, smiling through the exhaustion. See, this house will stand again. As long as we're together, nothing can break us. She nodded, brushing sweat and tears from her face, her eyes soft but steady. I bent to gather scattered leaves and scraps of bamboo, clearing away what I could. The sorrow lingered, but with it came determination. And then, the sound that changed everything. Maya's laughter. She came running with an armful of leaves, shouting, "I found more bamboo! Look!" Her innocent joy lit up the broken yard. That laughter blended with the pounding of my hammer and the rustling of leaves in Huyen's hands, creating a simple, fragile symphony. Amidst the ruins, we smiled. Not because the storm hadn't broken us, but because love gave us the strength to rise again. The sun began to dip, painting the sky with hues of red and gold. Its fading light touched the newly planted bamboo poles, making them glisten with raindrops left behind. Our home was far from finished. The roof was still open, the walls incomplete. Yet there it stood, a silhouette of resilience, a quiet proof of what love and faith could create. That evening, I lit a fire in the yard. Its flames danced wildly, reflecting in my tired but determined eyes. Huyen sat nearby, stirring a simple pot of vegetable soup. The smoke curled upward, mingling with the crisp evening air, filling the space with a humble warmth. The firelight illuminated our three faces: a strong man, a gentle woman, and a little girl with eyes wide and innocent. The world around us was dark, but the glow of our small circle was enough. We laughed quietly, huddled together. My arm wrapped firmly around Huyen and Maya, pulling them close. In that embrace, the dampness and chill of the storm faded away. Maya's head rested on her mother's chest, her small voice murmuring, "I like it like this. It feels warm, like we already have a real home." Huyen's eyes welled up again, her gaze falling on me. "I'm scared," she admitted softly. "If another storm comes, what if everything we build is swept away again? How many times can we start over?" I held her hands, rough and trembling, and met her eyes. "Huyen," I said, steady and unshaken. "Storms can destroy bamboo, walls, even entire houses, but they can't destroy the love I have for you and our daughter. As long as we stand together like this, we can rebuild, again and again, if we must." She broke down into tears, resting her head on my shoulder. "Never leave me. I don't need a perfect house. I just need you and this family." I tightened my arms around them, whispering above the crackle of the fire, "I promise, tomorrow, the next day, no matter how many storms come, I will never let go. Tomorrow, I'll keep building, and you'll be here, with me, making this house a home." Suddenly, Maya sat up, her face glowing with excitement. "I'll help too. I'll pick leaves and bamboo to make our house even prettier." We laughed together, our voices rising into the night sky. Though the world around us was dark, our laughter rang out, strong and bright, chasing away every shadow. That night, though the house was little more than bamboo stakes and flickering firelight, it was more of a home than ever before. A home built not of walls or a roof, but of promises, love, and unshakable trust. The night passed slowly, fire glowing low, and our bodies huddled together for warmth. The storm's echoes still lingered in the air, but inside our circle, there was peace. By morning, when the first rays of sunlight cut through the mist, we knew a new day had come, and with it, a chance to keep rebuilding. Yen rose first, his hands still sore and covered with blisters, but his spirit unbroken. He picked up a bamboo pole and drove it firmly into the earth. Each strike of his hammer echoed like a vow. No matter how many times the storm tried to tear them apart, he would always rebuild. Huyen watched him, her heart swelling with quiet gratitude. She had seen his fear the night before, seen the weight he carried, but now, in the light of day, she saw his determination shine brighter. She stepped forward, brushing away her own weariness, and began to gather leaves and scraps, helping him shape their home once more. Maya, bouncing with childlike energy, ran across the yard with a bundle of leaves clutched in her small hands. "Look, Mama, I found more for the roof," she said proudly, her laughter cutting through the silence like sunlight breaking through clouds. The three of them worked side by side, not as victims of a storm, but as builders of hope. Every piece of bamboo lifted, every knot tied, every leaf placed on the roof carried meaning far greater than just survival. It was love made visible. And yet, beneath their smiles, a question lingered. Was this enough? Would their fragile shelter stand when the skies turned dark again? As Yen lifted another beam into place, he paused to look at Huyen. Her hair clung to her damp forehead, her hands muddy, but her eyes shone with unwavering faith. "Thank you," she whispered softly, her voice trembling with emotion. "Thank you for never letting go of me." He stopped, resting the beam on his shoulder. "Huyen, storms may strip away our walls, but they can't touch what's in here," he said, pressing his hand to his chest. "As long as we keep holding on, nothing can take this from us." Her eyes filled with tears, and she gripped his hand tightly. In that touch, there was no fear, only a shared promise that they would face whatever came, side by side. By the afternoon, the house was beginning to take shape again. It was still rough, with gaps in the roof and walls that leaned a little, but it stood, tall and defiant against the memory of the storm. The courtyard, once a muddy mess, began to clear as they gathered debris and swept the ground. With each step forward, the wounds of yesterday faded, replaced by the fragile beauty of resilience. When the sun began to set, Huyen lit a small fire near the doorway. She stirred a simple pot of soup, its steam rising into the cool evening air. The smell was humble, yet it carried a warmth that filled the yard with comfort. Yen sat nearby, his arm around Maya, watching the firelight dance across their faces. The crackle of burning wood, the bubbling of the soup, and the sound of Maya's giggles blended into a melody that no storm could silence. Maya leaned against her mother, whispering drowsily, "It feels like home already. I don't care if the roof isn't finished." Huyen kissed her daughter's forehead, her heart breaking and healing all at once. "Yes, my love, this is our home, not because of the walls or the roof, but because we're together." That night, Yen's thoughts returned to the promise he made, to protect them, no matter what. He looked at Huyen, her face glowing in the firelight, and said quietly, "Even if another storm comes, even if everything falls again, I'll keep building. For you, for Maya, For us. Huyen leaned into him, tears falling freely. I don't need perfection. I only need you. Promise me you'll never let go. I promise, he said firmly, his voice steady as stone. No matter what happens, I'll never let go. The fire burned low, but their laughter rose high. It echoed into the night sky, defying the darkness, carrying with it the unshakable truth. Storms could destroy wood and stone, but never love. Days turned into weeks, and little by little, their bamboo house grew stronger. Each addition, a wall, a patched roof, a cleared courtyard, was a reminder of their perseverance. It wasn't grand, but it was theirs, built with their own hands and bound by their love. One morning, as the sunlight streamed through the newly patched roof, Huyen took Yen's hand, her eyes sparkling with quiet joy. We've made it through. Thank you for never giving up. Yen smiled, lifting her hand to his lips. It was never just me. It was all of us. You, me, and Maya. Together, we can face anything. Maya twirled nearby, her laughter carrying across the yard. Her innocence, her joy, washed away the last shadows of fear. The storm had left scars, but it had also carved out something stronger. A family bound not by walls, but by promises that could never be broken. And that is what this story wants to remind us all. Life will always bring storms, unexpected, fierce, and sometimes devastating. They may take away what we've built, leaving us with nothing but ruins. But if we still hold love in our hearts, if someone is there to reach out and hold our hand, no storm can truly defeat us. Because in the end, home is not the house we live in. It's the people who stand beside us, no matter how many times the wind tries to tear us down. And so, through firelight and tears, through laughter and rebuilding, Huyen, Yen, and little Maya proved one simple truth. Storms can break walls, but they cannot break love. After a devastating storm leaves their bamboo home in ruins, Huyen, Yen, and little Maya are forced to face the harsh reality of starting over. With nothing left but broken pieces and muddy ground, they cling to one another, turning despair into determination. Through sweat, tears, and promises whispered in the dark, they begin to rebuild, not just a house, but the meaning of home itself. Each bamboo pole raised and every leaf placed on the roof becomes a symbol of love and resilience. Yet, as the walls rise again, a lingering question remains. Will this fragile shelter survive the next storm? Or will their faith be tested once more? The answer lies not only in the strength of their hands, but in the unshakable bond that ties their hearts together.